Yeah, welcome back to Mark's Railway Trails, and if you remember on the last video we've shown you where the wash was, and today I'm back at the same spot. I'm just going to flip the camera around and we're going to be heading down there now, just following the trail. If you remember where the brook was, and down through the woods and picking up the next dam really. Just flip the camera around. If you remember, we were here at the wash at Sutton Mill Dam, and we walked down here at the end of the video really, and where I'm going to take you today, I'm going to follow on the trail really, because in my blog, as I said, Sidak had long gone, but Monastery Dam is still here. Like I said yesterday, I said Sidak had long gone, which it has, but Monastery Dam is still here. So that's where we're leaving now, just leaving the washing, and the old brook, and I'm going to take you through and show you where this leads out. And it's going to be a bit of an adventure today on Mark's Railway Trails, because you're going to get a railway on it. You're going to see the old monastery and church, and the family that built the old mill just up there. I'm going to take you to the church, which is back on to my estate where I live, where they're actually buried. So there's a lot to find today on Mark's Railway Trails, but I just wanted to show you where this brings you out. And we're just following the brook now that's leaving Mill Dam, and I'm going to show you where this leads to. And again, it's a first for me. I've not been down here before, so it's new territory for me. Again, never fails, shopping trolley. We always find one on Mark's Railway Trails, and this is going to lead us to Monastery Dam, but also to the monastery where the monks used to be, and it's right next to one of the most famous railway bridges in the world. In fact, it was the first railway bridge in the world where a railway ran over a railway, and that's what we're going to be crossing today to get to Monastery Dam. But you can just see the water, how it's ambling down now and taking its way from Mill Dam out of town really, and they all pick up the canals in town, which leads on to the Sankey Canal, which heads towards the Nine Arches, which we did in Newtonley Willows, if you remember my classic bike accident when somebody left a big pebble in the grass, and yours truly went flying. But if you're wondering where this brings you out, this is going to bring you out to the Wheatsheaf pub, and my friend Amanda works in here in the kitchen. If you see a little mini in here, we know she's in, but we're going to be passing the Wheatsheaf pub today, because we've got a fair bit of ground to travel today. So well, that's where it leads now. If you can just see that, it's going under the road, and you can just see a little bridge there, and that'll lead on to Monastery Dam. That's where we've just come down from Mill Dam. And if you remember, that's where we walked from Brickfields, but we're going to follow it all the way over now to Monastery Dam. But before that, we're going to be hitting a very famous railway line, the George Stephenson's 1830 line, so I'll show you that. Hiya matey. And that's where the brook one runs through. There's the Wheatsheaf pub, can't see him in here. And if you see the house over there, that's where I bought my house off when I moved to where I moved to Shirley Park. That's where they moved to. So another little bit of history there. And Wheatsheaf pub, I reckon it's one of the most haunted pubs in St Helens. Maybe because of the yeah, there she is in, but we'll give her a miss today. She'll be in there in the kitchen. I'm going to try and sneak past because if she sees me with the camera she'll go mad. So Amanda's in there, and it's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon now, so that's the Wheatsheaf pub. And I'm going to keep this running so people who want to do this walk can actually see where we're going, and just be careful crossing here because it's a busy little roundabout. That's Leech Lane we've just come across, and if you go right up there where you see all the trees, that's where the railway crossed over and went all the way up there to Clockface on the St Helens to Runcorn Gap. But I'm going to keep it running and then people can see where it actually leads to. And you kind of go through a housing estate really, so I do apologise. It's a bit boring for this bit, but I'll just keep it running till I get near the end and then take the turning. May pause it for a minute until we get near to the line. Well, I just thought I'd carry this on really because I know somebody's going to ask, you know, where's Monastery Dam, and it's still open. And when I did my blog yesterday, I was trying to say that Sidak has closed, but I know somebody will jump on and say no, Monastery Dam's not closed, and I know it's not, I know it's still open. So to finish it off, I'm going to show you where it is and show you where the monks used to be and tell you all about the history of that as well. And you see where the T-junction is there at Leech Lane. This is where we're going to nip across now. And I'll just pause it as I get further down. No, I'll keep it running because you're not that far. So pick up the trail then on Leech Lane. It's a cul-de-sac. This will bring you to here. And just in the distance you can see the old railway service bridge that's still here, and they've kind of jigged it a little bit. I'll show you just to recap while we're passing it. One of the most famous bridges in the world. It was the first in the world where a railway crossed a railway, and sadly St Helens Council knocked the bloody thing down like they always do with a lot of our history in St Helens. So sad. And there's a new housing estate in front of it. And I thought they could have just kept the bridge really. You don't have to use it, but just kept it. Especially with its history of being the first railway that crossed George Stephenson's famous 1830 line. Warm day again, so a bit of a power walk to get to here today because I was conscious of time that I'm trying to get out before all the schools get out. So, well, this is where it leads you, and this is like a shortcut really that takes you over into Sutton, and it'll take you to Monastery Lane, and obviously that gives you a clue what was on Monastery Lane, and I'll tell you more about the monastery and the dam that we're going to find as well. There's the old service bridge. You can still see part of it in wrought iron, which is still here, and they've just remodified it a bit on the sides so you can't look over and chuck things over. I'm going to nip through a new housing estate. Whoop. And railways, the most famous plant on railways, Budlia. But what you're looking at here now, with a bit of graffiti on, just here, this was the most famous railway bridge in the world, where the railway crossed the railway. And if you look behind me now, new housing estate, takes you right down there. That was the line that picked up the St Helens to Runcorn Gap. Sadly no more. St Helens Council knocked it down, but at least we got the back end of it. The old service bridge is still here, and it's still got the original iron railings and everything here as well. And this takes us to Monastery Lane, so we're going to go up here and take this shortcut. If you just look at the wrought iron work, it's in better days, but it's still here, and that's bloody brilliant that it's still here. Really good. And I'm going to flip my camera up. Just down there is Lee Green Station, near where I live, and this is George Stephenson's 1830 line, and this is where he would have done the Rainhill trials, testing the locomotives, and he would have come down here because there's pictures of them actually going over this particular bridge. And just up there, like I say, is Lee Green Station. About a mile and a half down is the original Lee Green Station. And if you carry on, I'll just show you the other line. As you can see, it's still iron. It's in better days. I can't see it, but you will. Just down there, it takes you to St Helens Junction. So they use this like a bit of a walkway now, and they've opened this up since I did it many years ago, when I was finding the bridge just over there. You can still see it's got a bit of a walkway. They've done a bit of a path now that takes you down. But today, like I say, you're gonna find the oldest bridge. You're gonna find the monastery where the monks was, the churches, monastery dam, and we're going to end up on a true ghost story today. And it is a true ghost story because it actually happened to me, and I'll tell you more about that when we get down to St Nicholas's Church. See, everybody uses this for a quick run through. Alright, Bob. And this brings you right out in the thick of it, just where we want it to be. Such a good shortcut, this. And I'm going to take you round and show you where the monastery was. Just here now, we're on Monastery Road. Now, if you remember my blog on the St Helens to Runcorn Gap, that's where we walked it all the way from St Helens to Clockface, following the line, 2 lines up there, and that takes you to a place called Pudding Bank near St Helens Junction, and that's where we found the old shed. So if you want to see that, just tap in on Mark's Railway Trail, St Helens to Runcorn Gap, walking the 1830 line, you'll find it. But I'm going to take you down now Monastery Road, sorry. And this is Monastery Road, and this is where the monastery was, and it's still got the original brickwork. But I remember these walls many years ago. Not that I came round here a lot, because we was at the other side of town, and they were massive. They're probably twice the size of these. They've just been capped now. I'll just show you. Like I say, I'm just finding me way around here. I think we go this way now. Just bear with me. And this was a new complex that was built The original church was actually knocked down, and the monastery was knocked down, and I think it was 1976 that they actually built all the new dwellings here, and they actually built a new church as well. And I'll just show you down the back here. There used to be, I've got pictures I'll show you, but this is the one that they built afterwards. But there used to be a massive kind of memorial here. It's a Roman Catholic church, and this is the grotto that they built. The original grotto, 2001 to 2002. I just had to show you that really, just to get it on the blog really, and like I say, all this is brand new now. 1976, it was all flattened, and the old church was flattened as well. And I'll just show you where we are. It just gives you an idea. And there you go, and that's where we are, St Anne's Blessed the Moment Church, Roman Catholic Church, and that was a new one that they built, and it went all the way back really, and they put new houses behind it. So sad really. There's the 1830 line that we've done. You've seen that on my blog. So how close are these together really, and there's a bit of a story with that as well, why they're so close together. But I'll show you some pictures of the original church when I do a little side show. And it's sad really, because the church was absolutely immaculate, the other one, but apparently they kept all the stained glass out the old church to transfer into this church, so that's a nice touch as well. And this is Monastery Lane, if you're wondering where it is. Like I said, we've come over the tops, and it's a bit of a big shortcut really, which is really good. And this is like the kind of like the hall really, the parish office and the hall. But originally these walls were absolutely massive, and you hear many stories of people walking up here when the monks were here, and the building was massive, and you could see the monks looking through the windows. But that church lost a lot of land to the railways. The church was on this side, all that was their land, and the London North Western Railway Company purchased a lot of the land off the church to build the railways on the St Helens to Runcorn Gap. And it has a bit of a sad tale to it as well really, and when you start looking at these things you find so much history out. And if you want to find out about the monks at Sutton that were on Monastery Road, you're going to have to Google it, because there's so much history down here. But Father Sebastian Enrico got expelled from France and spent 6 months in the monastery here, and unfortunately he was crossing one of the lines over there on the St Helens to Runcorn Gap, and it just killed him outright. One of the steam trains hit him and just killed him outright, and that was on the London to North West Railway Company, and that would have been the date, if I remember right off the top of my head when I was looking at it, was 1881, and it didn't half clobber him apparently, it just smashed him to pieces. Such a sad tale. And he came over all the way from France, because he was excluded from France because of his religion, so he spent about 3 months just here where the monks lived really. The graveyard's still here, as you can see, They didn't move the graveyard. They kept that as it was when they demolished the old church for the new houses. Obviously religious grounds, so this is still here. We've just come over there from Milldam, but what a lovely day again. And this should take us to Milldam. And again, it's new territory for me on Marks Railway Trails, because it's not a part of where I grew up. And like I said many times, if you'd have done this as a kid, you would know it like the back of your hand. And I'm glad I found this as well, because when I researched this, these are the original gates. The original gates that took you through the graveyard into the monastery. And just down there where the new houses are, I remember this from the 80s, when the part of the monastery was still here. You can just see the cross above the houses, and they turned it into a bit of it was a nightclub. They did it in the early 80s, and it was 1979, I think it was. It was called Closters and Tropical Club. And I remember going there a couple of times. I'd already been, early 20s, maybe younger than that. A bit of a weird club, really. But original gates is still here, and I think this will take you through to down this path, I would say, to Monastery Down. Like I say, it's all new houses they've put up round here now, and I've never walked this, so it's a first for me. And yeah, here it is, because I remember the bridge, and I've never been across this bridge. Just when you do your research on finding it, your little things stick in your mind, like the gates that we've seen just up there in the background. I remember those, and that brought memories back of the nightclub. And I couldn't remember the name of the club, and I had to ask my friend Dex, who I did the music with, because he was a DJ in the 80s, what it was called, and he remembered it. And here we go. This is Monastery Dam, and it's another dam that, like I said, that leads on from Milldam. And if you remember telling you the tale when they let all the water out of Milldam and they couldn't close the water wheels, and they lost thousands and thousands of fish, and they all ended up in here. And this is what they call Monastery Dam, and you can just see the waterway there where it comes from. So that water goes all under that new housing estate, believe it or not. I'm not going to walk around this, because I just wanted to find it really and show you where the water came to. And from over there, that will lead into St Helens Town Centre. There's another waterway right at the end that goes under the road, and that leads into St Helens Town Centre now. And all this would have been open at one spell, all brand new houses, like everything is now, built on it. And again, it's like an anglers association. You have keys to get in it if you want to go fishing on it. So there it is, there's the Monastery Dam, and we've come over the famous bridge, the 1830 line, the bridge for the St Helens to Runcorn Gap. We found the monastery, and what a sad story about the person, got killed on it, really. So very sad, but that's because it was so close to a railway, and so sad really. And that was Father Sebastian Enrico from France. and he just got clobbered on the railway line. Very sad, really. But what I'm going to take you to now, I'm going to pause the camera and head back up to take you to St Nicholas's Church, because the family that worked at did the corn mills at Mill Dam, they're actually part of the family is actually buried in St Nicholas's Church. So I'm going to show you St Nicholas's Church just to finish the story off, really, and where it ends up. And there's supposed to be a plaque in front of St Nicholas's Church. I don't think we'll find that today because it's a very old graveyard, but we'll have a good look. But also I'm going to finish off at St Nicholas's Church, which is 2 minutes from me. I've got about an half-hour walk to get back up there, so I'm going to pause the camera, and when I get to St Nicholas's, a bit of a ghost story to tell you that happened to me with my dog Prince to finish off this afternoon's trail. But now you know where all the water runs to, from all the way up there from Mill Dam, right under the housing estate, brings you onto Monastery Dam, which again is an angling lake, and that's the last dam that leads out of St Helens then through the town centre, picks up the canals in the town centre onto Sankey Canal and the Nine Arches, which we've done. So I'm going to cut off and catch you in about half an hour when we'll pick up the trail at St Nick's Church. And there we go, this is where just had about a 40-minute walk up to a bit of a power walk, and this brings us out to St Nicholas's Church, which is just round the corner from where I live, near Sherdley Park. And the reason I wanted to bring you here to finish off what we did at Mill Dam, really. If you remember telling you about the family who run the corn mill at Mill Dam, Murray Garton died in 1850, part of the Sutton parish, and David Lamb, who's part of the family, arranged his sister's burial, who ran the mill, the Lamb family, and he actually had one of the first people to be buried in this graveyard as a new parish. And and he run the Mill House pub, which was named after the mills, which is just on Mill Lane, which is named after the mills again. And as you go off Mill Lane, there's Mill Brow again, that's named after the mills. So that's where all the history ties up to Mill Dam. But apparently there's a plaque at the front of St Nick's Church here for Mary Sarah Liptrot, who was his daughter, and she's actually buried here, and there's a plaque apparently at the front of the church highlighting it. I don't think we'll find that today, but we're going to walk it. We're going to walk St Nick's Church because I've wanted to get this on my blog as well, because it's such a quiet area, really, St Nick's Church. And the walk I'm going to take you now is the walk that me and Prince used to do. You can see the houses at the back. Behind those houses is Sherdley Park, and I am right on the other side facing Sherdley Park. So many a time with Prince, depending, we used to let him pick. If you wanted to go left with your Sherdley Park, if you wanted to go right with your St Nick's Church. And so peaceful around here, so peaceful, and quite an old church as well. I might as well tell you the history as we walk in it. Dates back to 1849, and at the time it cost 3,900 to build, and in money value that today you're talking about 500,000, probably more now, to be honest with you, to build such a church. And they've added bits to it over the years, which I'll tell you about as we walk it round. But I've got a bit of a ghost story to tell you, and we've done the railway today, finding the oldest bridge in the world that ran a railway over the railway. But I'm going to take you on the walk that me and Prince always used to do, and he was never on a lead. I used to follow him, and we had Prince for 13 years, and for a good 11-10 years we did this walk, and I just let him walk, and he'd follow the path every time. He would never veer off to the graves, which is strange really, because he always said dogs get a bit of a sense, don't they? And we'd walk this same journey many times, and we used to do this probably more in his later years, because again I used to let him pick, and majority of the time in his last probably 12 months he would always go right to come here instead of Sherdley Park, and probably because it's a smaller walk. And some of the houses that back on here, they all back onto the graveyards, and I can't remember which house it was now. I think it was one of these over here. Me and Diane looked at that, and when she looked over the fence and seen all the headstones, no way. And I'm glad we didn't really, to be honest with you now, because we just dropped on where we are. And you can go up that way, it takes you up to front to St Nick's Church. But we always went this way every time, and he never veered off. He might have gone on the fronts a little bit, but he never veered off the front. And it was probably 12 months before he passed away really. We did this walk on a just going fading light in winter, and we always went that way. For 11 years we always went that way, but this one particular night, and I remember telling Tony Redmond this story, and he thought I was making it up, and I wasn't, Tony. It was a true story. And just on that one night he came down here for whatever reason. He came down here, and I just followed him, and he was walking. He didn't go left, he didn't go right, he just kept on walking, and until we got right up to here. And I'm going to show you, I want to send this to Tony to prove to him. And he walked right up here, and then he went right here and parked his bum here, and no bad intentions felt Mary Ann Winstanley. And in this grave is a Mark Winstanley. Beloved husband of Mary Ann Winstanley, who died on January 11th, 1911, age 46. And I'll be honest with you, it spooked me out at the time, and no disrespect, Mark Winstanley, who's here, don't mean any harm showing people this grave. And about 2 days later I actually come and put flowers on this grave, and Prince just stopped here and wouldn't move, and I didn't know why he stopped here, and it's only when I looked up and seen the headstone, and it freaked me out, to be honest with you. And I know it shouldn't, but is that a coincidence? Is that strange? I do not know, and it still gives me a bit of a cold shiver now. But if you can imagine, in the middle of winter, the lights fading, you know, it's a cold night, and you end up here, and you end up looking what I'm looking at now. So to Mark Winstanley, beloved husband of Mary Ann Winstanley. And I remember searching the graves after this, and just down here, I'm not going to really, hopefully I can find it, but just down here on one of the graves, I did find it, is Mary Ann Winstanley buried as well. That's my ghost story for today, but that is a true story. I haven't got time to try and find it, but it's just round here. Hopefully I can find it. Oh, there we go. Just to prove I wasn't lying. If you look here, I don't know if the camera's picking it up because of the light. It may be not, but there's Mary Ann Winstanley beloved wife of John Winstanley. So obviously she must have married again. And there's a few Winstanleys in that grave. I don't think the camera's going to pick it up. Oh yeah, there you go. Just to show you. Mary Ann Winstanley. So whether she married again, I don't know why she's not buried in that grave. Was it no, it said on the grave it was her husband, but why is she buried in this grave and he's in that grave over there? I don't know, and I don't mean any harm whoever's in that grave, but I just wanted to share that story with you to finish today's railway trail off. But that's where Prince come. Just on that one night, and parked his bum in front of that grave, so at least I got back to past 46, because you start worrying, you know, at the time. But luckily I was past 46 when I seen it, else I would have freaked. I'd have been bricking it for years that I'm going to pop my clogs. And like I say, I did come and put flowers on that grave 2 days after. And you know what, we've walked this grave many times after it, probably another 12 months after it, and he never came this way again. So why you wanted to show me that grave, I do not know. Are we related in some way? Maybe I should research it. I don't know. But what a spooky tale, and I wanted to video that because I told Tony Redmond at the time and he thought I was winding him up, and I wasn't. And it's quite a big cemetery, but the oldest part is the part that we're at in now, St Nick's Church. And I'm sorry I put a bit of down on the end of the vlog, but I just wanted to show you that, really, to prove my story to Tony. But that is what I would call a true ghost story. And there is St Nick's Church. And I don't know if these ladies will probably know where it is. Or maybe not, I don't know. Oh. The clock's not working, it's not worked for many years, and they kind of added to this. If you look at the part on the front now, this was added in 1960, like a new vestry was added to it in 1960. So just to give you an idea. But there's some real medieval little imprints. Hi ladies, you alright? Yeah. You don't know this graveyard very well, do you? I shouldn't say that, but do you know it very well?
That's so well we tend to frequent.
Oh, right, no.
I've come to get married.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh.
61 years ago I was here.
Oh, brilliant.
That's where I've come.
Oh, that's good.
I try and come each year just on the 3 o'clock.
Oh, I'm so glad I bumped into you then, yeah. I'm just doing a blog on, we did Mill Dam, and there's a family that ran the corn mill on Mill Dam. You know where the washway comes down? And the family, his daughter was buried in this cemetery, one of the first ones to be buried when it was built. And apparently, I've got it on here actually. I think it's 1849, and it cost £3,900 at the time.
Oh my gosh.
You wouldn't get that built for that now, would you? And I was just saying, they added that bit in I think it was around about the 60s. That's new.
It's 1961 when.
Oh right. Oh brilliant. Oh, such good. So you come back every. That's nice.
Well,
that.
I've not done it every year, but
Yeah.
I come back with my thoughts, but so this is my daughter.
Oh, hi Sarah. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a nice touch.
My mum and dad are buried there, and my sister and her husband are buried on the other side, just by the car park.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to live in Baxter's Lane.
Oh, Baxter's Lane. Yeah. I live not that street, the one behind it.
Yeah.
Where I grew up in Eccleston
well,
originally.
they built all those, didn't they?
Yeah,
Because that Sherdley was a private estate.
it was, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and then it was left, I think, to the council for a open space for the public. I
that's
think.
right. I've
Yeah,
done a
but it's
blog
had
on that one as
It had
well.
a big wall because we used to go and see
That's
it.
right, you had the walls, right? Because
Yeah,
parks at
ever
one
so
time,
high, yeah, we
they
used-
shut them all at 7 o'clock, didn't they? They locked
Yeah.
the gates and things, you know.
Yeah, there was about, I think there was one light along there by that main gate. We used to come from my granddad's in Widnes on
Yeah.
the bus, and very often with it being dark, we'd get off at the wrong stop and we'd have to
Oh.
walk it all the way back.
Through there.
It was
Oh.
awful. We got off and the bus, we'd see the bus saying, "Oh, we got off the wrong stop again." But it was pitch black.
Yeah.
You know,
There's no lights in them days,
no
was there?
lights,
Nothing
no.
had lights, you know. But if you're on YouTube, tap in Mark's Railway Trails, if you can remember it. Mark's Railway Trails, that's me. And I do all walks from all round the area.
Recording yourself doing a walk.
Yeah, I not so much me, I do the buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
I just done Eccleston Mere last week, and I had to get permission because you can't get on Eccleston Mere now, and they give me permission to get on. So if you can remember at Mark's Railway Trails, you'll see this one from
Write
today.
it down.
You can watch it. I've not got your picture on here, but I've got your
Thank
voice
you.
on. If that's all right, if that's okay for you. But
Oh,
what,
I don't
so-
know, did you want to be on it? That's recording your voice. to
I've
go
got
on
my
the
voice on there, so I'll take it off. But such a lovely story, you can't miss that story. But I'm
I'd
sorry
rather
to
not
mad
be
you.
on it if that's all right.
That's okay, no worries.
Just take it off.
I will, not that, there you go. But such a lovely story. Yeah, all right. See you again. And what a lovely story. That lady comes back every year. And that's it today on Mark's Railway Trails. I can't find the plaque that we were looking for. That's St Nick's Church. I hope you enjoyed it, and a bit of ghost story at the end. And what a nice tale from that lady. And if she does watch it, you know, I've only got your voice on, and I don't need your name or anything, and I hope you don't mean any harm to you. But such a lovely story, and it's very hard to edit it out when you're just videoing it, to be honest with you. But I hope you don't mind. Such a lovely story on there. But where the plaque is, I'm not sure. Well, that's it today. That just finishes off from Mildam, really, and I hope you enjoyed it. A bit of a trek, but I just wanted to finish it off where it took you from Mildam and where it ends up round here. So see you soon on Mark's Railway Trails, and not be doing another one this week. We've done quite a few this week, but I just wanted to finish it off. So from St Nick's Church in St Helens, which is just round the corner from me, I'm going to go out here now, just show you this as we're going out. There you go. And that's where you come in from the road. So just going to walk it round now and head home, which is, and there you go, 1849. And I've had a good look for the plaque. I can't see it. It could be anywhere. It's at the front of the church. It could be actually absolutely anywhere, but I remember going down here many years ago. This takes you right underneath the church as well. And there is stories that there's a tunnel that leads from this church over into Sherdley. I think it's a bit of a fantasy, a bit of what they used to call a priesthood that you could go through, but I think it's just fantasy that. If anybody can prove me wrong, but I've never heard or proved it inside the church. So and that's the way you go into the back of the church if you're in the choir and everything. And the flags at half mast. A sad day yesterday for Her Majesty the Queen. Sadly passed away, so for all the years service that she gave us, 75 years in the rain. We thank you for Mark's Railway Trails, and nice to see the flag at half mast. And whenever you see a weather vane with a cockerel on, I always think of Fred Dibmer as well. So that's where I'm going to cut off. Hope you liked it. I'm going to be heading this way now, and one last look, but that's St Nick's Church in St Helens, which finishes off the walk from Milldam and the corn mills of Milldam, and somewhere on the front of here is one of the headstones. So for Mark's Railway Trails, see you soon, see you on the next one, and the flag at half mast for Her Majesty the Queen, God bless her. See you soon on Mark's Railway Trails.